My God. They've done it. They've done it after 20 plus, let's just call it that, 20 plus years. We have finally got the yellow and blue, what seems to be heavily inspired by 2003's astonishing X-Men Wolverine suit, guys. And I know many of you have probably already seen this. I'm a little bit late to it, but I wanted to give my thoughts on it anyway. I am very, very, very excited for Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in Deadpool 3. I obviously grew up in the X-Men, Fox X-Men period of movies releasing. I was born in 94, so as you can imagine, a little Boba watching that back in the day. Granted, say what you will about those movies, it was pretty mind-blowing to me. And we never got this comic classic suit. I mean, we've had it teased before with James Mangold's Wolverine, but finally, here it is. So if you couldn't tell already, I just want to talk a little bit about this suit, Deadpool 3, some details. Some of it may get into a bit of the rumory, spoilery territory side of it, but let's get into my initial reaction of this. So right away, when this first released, we got a bit of a blurry version of it, but now this seems to be a high quality version, and here is the yellow suit. Yellow does seem to work. Obviously, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. But to be honest, what I quite like about it, even though it is fairly saturated, it's quite muddied at the same time. It's not like completely clean. So don't get me wrong, it is bright, it is vibrant, just like how Deadpool's suit seems to be a bit more vibrant here, possibly to match it. But it is muddied enough to kind of make it blend in there. Whereas for the longest time, for years and years and years, possibly 20 plus years, people have been wondering maybe the reason why they didn't put it into live action is because it just might not translate so well. But as you can see here with Hugh frickin' Jackman, he looks great wearing it. I know a lot of people are saying, as I'm looking at this, one thing kind of stands out. Another thing as well, and we'll get to that in a second, that they don't want the sleeves. And I do get that in one sense, because obviously Hugh Jackman puts in a lot of training for his Wolverine roles, and they kind of want it to be sleeveless, so you can kind of see the shredded arms of Hugh Jackman there. And that could have looked very, very good. Like, don't get me wrong. But personally, to me, I really don't mind that. I think the sleeves do look really, really, really awesome. One of my favorite details, especially in some other shots that we'll go over in a second, when it gets to the glove area, the slits for the claws going through, it looks awesome. It looks like that will pack a punch quite a bit. And who knows? I mean, you would have to have thought in the concept stages that they were looking at sleeveless versions of this Wolverine suit, and maybe it just didn't really look as good, which may sound hard to believe. I could be completely wrong there. I'm not even saying that is the case, because then again, imagine that sleeveless, and people might be like, well, seeing Hugh Jackman's arms there, seeing Wolverine all ripped there with the claws, you know, imagine that stance, it might have looked insanely badass. Either way, I love that. I mean, obviously with this high quality look as well, you can see the X on the belt there, similar to some of the revisions to this Deadpool suit. You can see the Deadpool logo there among some other changes in the suit. But let's talk about the next thing. He's not wearing the mask, not in any of the set photos that are coming out seemingly by the hour at the minute as they're filming. You could just say that this doesn't mean that we're not getting the mask, because, you know, they could do the typical thing of where the mask is technically a part of this new Wolverine look that Hugh Jackman is sporting in Deadpool 3, but the kind of thing where they only show it for a minute or two and then put it down, and in the middle of combat, he's just going at whoever without the mask on. But I know some people will be like, but why not keep it on? But this is where some people are like, well, maybe the mask is most certainly in it, but it could be nanotech. You know, the kind of Thor Love and Thunder just kind of spawning on the face thing. People are kind of having flashbacks to that. And yeah, I wouldn't really like a nanotech mask. I can imagine them doing it though. It might not be the worst thing, because it could still look really cool, but I think people are just a bit fatigued by nanotech stuff. Why not actually see the character put on the mask or something like that? But either way, I'm sure the fact that they've gone through the extent of making this new yet accurate classical Wolverine look in Deadpool 3 means that they probably have made the mask but they just might feature Hugh Jackman's face a lot and only show him wearing it maybe the first time you see him and when he looks around, and then he takes it off, and maybe a couple more times after that. But then again, having said that, if they just want to show Hugh Jackman's face, you could say the same thing for Ryan Reynolds, but he dedicates and commits himself to wearing the Deadpool mask whenever he's in Deadpool action. I mean, I'm not saying we don't see Ryan Reynolds' face in the movie, but you see my point. So can't the same thing be said for Hugh Jackman? We're just going to have to wait and see. This could just be a scene in where simply Hugh Jackman's Wolverine mask has just been, I don't know, knocked off by Deadpool. And maybe knowing Deadpool, he makes a joke out of the mask and just says it was stupid anyway. And then they continue fighting as they do in some of these scenes. But overall, with regards to the suit specifically, if you couldn't tell already, just like a lot of other people, I mean, to be fair, there are some people not liking it, but I'm 100%, 110% a part of the crowd who is in love with this. We have to bear in mind as well, on the sheen of the screen, it'll probably look even better than what it does here, just with obviously running it through editing and maybe some kind of CG applied to it. I'm not saying that they should dump a load of CG on it, but you get my point. If you think it looks good here, imagine what it could look like in the movie, especially maybe with the mask, hopefully maybe not nanotech. But as for some other details, with some of the shots that are being filmed in this scene between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman wearing both of their suits, we have a bunch of other stuff going on here. So we're going to be entering a little bit of spoilery territory here, not like massively plot breaking stuff. It's kind of stuff that's just floating around everywhere, and it's stuff that we kind of know about Deadpool 3 with regards to how he's being integrated into the MCU off the back of what happened at the end of Deadpool 2. It's not only Hugh Jackman who's turning up, and I mean, I know we've seen other characters in the previous Deadpool movies as well, but we also have Jennifer Garner confirmed to return as Elektra, which probably means Ben Affleck's Daredevil, and I'm sure you've all heard those rumors, is very likely turning up as well, because I can't just imagine in this somewhat multiverse road trip movie that you're just going to have Elektra turn up and there's not going to be any kind of Ben Affleck Daredevil, especially when you take into account the amount of cameos that we've heard from this movie. And again, it doesn't end there. This extends to 20th Century Fox characters, just given this whole multiverse aspect of the film. So this includes Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, rumored to reprise their roles as Charles Xavier and Magneto, even Halle Berry as Storm, even rumors of Channing Tatum's Gambit and James Marsden's Cyclops, among others. Again, these are technically unconfirmed, not Elektra, but these other characters, so take it with a grain of salt. But the more you kind of learn about this movie, the more it really does seem likely that these characters will appear, especially with what is going down in the plot. And speaking of this, on the Deadpool Updates Twitter account, well, you can see a few more peeks of Wolverine fighting Deadpool, but also among this location is the 20th Century Fox logo in the background. So we know that Deadpool likes to get very, very self-aware, break the fourth wall in the movies, but this is just going next level with how, I guess you could say, Deadpool kills the Fox universe. Maybe there's even a joke in there where Deadpool just says, we're all just freaking comic book characters. I don't know. Like, this movie could get pretty crazy in terms of the Easter eggs, the cameos, the fourth wall breaking. Kind of like how at the end of Deadpool 2, where he kind of went to all of these different locations, but this going even bigger. And again, the key thing to remember is that this is a multiverse movie, and the likely reasons behind the plot spiraling into all of these variants of Fox / Marvel X-Men timelines and cameos of characters is because we know the TVA is involved. And another thing, Deadpool is MCU now, so Deadpool time traveling at the end of the second Deadpool movie, stopping Ryan Reynolds from making Green Lantern, and then of course the X-Men origin stuff. Well, you can imagine, given that this is all canon with the MCU timeline, the TVA are not going to stand for that. They're not going to be happy with it. So the thing is, it's going to be interesting to think about how they're even going to apprehend someone as crazy as Deadpool, but it seems that they are going to try and arrest him, and it's heavily likely, as you can probably imagine with Deadpool 3 being a 2024 movie, that Loki Season 2 will be setting quite a bit of this up, with obviously characters from Loki like Mobius, Owen Wilson, being spotted around the filming in London and where Deadpool 3 was shooting, being a part of Deadpool 3 as well. So maybe maybe in a similar way to how Loki was, you know, hired as an agent in a roundabout way of speaking. They could do another thing where it's like, well, Deadpool, to alleviate some of your time and your crimes, the TVA judge may propose enlisting Deadpool to go to different realities and just clean up some of the timelines that have gone awry. Now, some of these realities are rumored to be centered around that of the House of M story, which is pretty crazy, but also really makes sense if you think about it with some of the rumored Fox returning characters. So this could really be their rendition of Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, or Fox Universe in this case. But then again, the more I think about this, I don't get why the TVA just wouldn't do their usual timeline erasing bomb thing. And this could have ripple effects into canonizing certain things into the mainline MCU canon, which, you know, I know some people expected, but I think a lot of people were expecting Secret Wars to go like all ham and full send into that. But what if Deadpool 3 actually has quite a lot to contribute to that of the canon moving forward with regards to mutants, other characters? We're just gonna have to wait and see. Another thing I keep seeing online, I guess you could say, is the whole multiverse movie fatigue. Now, this is obviously a separate conversation to just superhero fatigue, which I've gone on about enough on this channel with how it's not necessarily a real thing. It's more about repetition in movies. One thing I will say is what is in season the past few years and what is still yet to come is obviously multiverse movies. And I do think there is credence in this, that each movie, all while of course they're doing their own story, it is starting to feel a little bit of the same thing. Like you got the Flash movie, Michael Keaton comes back, and we have this character come back, and then, oh, with Spider-Man, we've got Norman Osborn back and all these characters back. Oh, Deadpool 3, now we've got Hugh Jackman coming back. But the thing I will say, what I will say is I do think Deadpool 3 will do just fine in the multiverse aspect of the story that audience have seen again and again in recent years and with years to come, because I do think that the nostalgia bait for this movie in particular is particularly a potent one. So regardless of how fans feel about seeing another multiverse movie, I think most fans would be happy enough with just Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool just being together and providing some top tier entertainment. But everyone, those are my quick thoughts on Deadpool 3, our new look at Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. Obviously, I didn't cover the Deadpool 3 suit changes, so let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below anyway. But let me know your thoughts on just everything else we discussed in this video. Some of the rumors that we've heard for Deadpool 3, the multiverse, different reality, traveling craziness that they're both going to get up to, the characters and cameos that we could see. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate a like. It just helps me out. Maybe consider subscribing if you want to see more videos like this. I want to stay a bit more on top of Deadpool. I'm very much so looking forward to the premise of what this movie is offering. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.